Does role play work? Absolutely. If done well, role play can really work. I think sometimes the issue is it's not done well, and it can be done in a way that is almost demeaning to the PDI and making it harder for the PDI than they can currently handle. And we'd never do that with our learners. We'd never put them in a scenario where they're constantly floundering, constantly struggling, and just leaving it and letting it happen, and if making it worse, if anything. So when done correctly, role play will have a level of difficulty that matches the PDI's ability in that current stage. It's also, I think, rarely, and I don't like personally doing this, a full role play session. So go deliver me a full driving lesson. And generally, what we're doing is we're stopping and we're reflecting and we're picking out what that went well, that was good, try that again. This wasn't quite right. Let's try a different question or a different way, or let me pause you for a second. Where would you take this lesson now? And it's really sort of kind of an interactive session with elements of role play in it. But absolutely, if done well, role play can work. However, I don't think it can cover everything. And I think there needs to be elements of where your trainer is sat in and watching you deliver a real lesson. Now, the reason why I think this is important is because we often talk about dealing with pupils' thoughts and feelings. Now, a good role player could portray that, but I think it's more realistic and it's more authentic when you're doing that with a real person with real thoughts and feelings, real issues, real needs, and real sort of kind of development needed. And so I think in that scenario, you've got that real scenario. Now, I think what can happen though quite often is when you are being observed with a real learner, it quite often becomes a mock test. And so your trainer just sat in the back, watches your session, writes down everything you did wrong, and it gives you some feedback at the end of the session. Again, we would never do that with our learners. Imagine a driving lesson where you watch the pupil for an hour and then just told them everything they did wrong. Yes, we do it for mock tests, but that's towards the end of their driving when we feel like they're getting to that point where they can drive independently. It's not how we train them, it's just how we prepare them for the test towards the end. So why are we doing that with PDIs? And so I think you should be asking if this isn't happening. I think you should be requesting that your trainer jumps in. Now, I know from a point of view as a trainer, it can be hard to judge when to jump in, when to intervene in a lesson. So actually, if you're wanting this from your trainers and you're wanting that feedback and support and help as you go through your training sessions, then ask for it. Pull over, pause before you have your chat with your pupil. Ask your trainer, how am I doing? Is there anything I could have done differently there? Any suggestions? Don't wait until you're like 2 hours, 1 hour into this lesson to get all that feedback, because actually if you're getting that feedback as you go through the session, in that session you can start tweaking it, you can start changing it, you can start improving. And you'll progress so much quicker with this sort of support. So really kind of ask your trainers to get involved in these sessions. Now, I'm not saying that they're not. I'm sure there's loads of trainers out there that are. But if that's not the training you're getting, then get the training you should be getting. Now, I'm also not saying this will work for everyone. I've had PDIs who don't want me to jump in because it throws them off their thought process, and they do want that sort of mock. And what I've done with that is maybe made it smaller segments and going, right, I'll give you half an hour and then I want to give some feedback. I'm not going to wait the entire lesson. And we'll tweak it and work it, like we'll work it out and compromise and work together on what works best for that PDI. So find out what you think works best for you. If you're not sure, try something and see if it works, and then demand that from your trainer.